and a great big welcome back to all of you real women of Philadelphia. Thanks for coming back to my kitchen. Last week when we were together, I shared with you a recipe for a great appetizer. This week, we're all about the side dishes, and I've got my garlic drizzled potatoes to share with you today. This is an amazing recipe that started with a taste I got from, of all places, the mall food court. But inspiration comes in all shapes and sizes, and I brought that idea home and made it into something great that your family is going to love. I know mine sure does. Speaking of my family, we're not your average size family. As a mom of 10 children, that puts does put a dozen of us around our table almost every night for dinner. Now your family might not have a dozen, or you might be preparing this meal for maybe a few couples coming over, or a small dinner party, or maybe even just yourself. So I've scaled back my recipe to set it for about 6 servings. That's what we're going to work with today, but you can modify it for whatever size party you want. It goes big, it goes small. So without any further ado, let's get started on these garlic drizzled potatoes. The first thing we're going to start with is obviously the potato. Today we're using just a regular russet potato. I've got them washed and peeled and ready to go. You could use sweet potatoes, or my personal favorite would be just brand new, fresh out of the garden baby potatoes. But we just got a fresh foot of snow last night, so there's not a whole lot of fresh garden stuff going on here in my house. To prepare your potato, you're just going to take it and chop it into some bite-sized chunks. About this size is just perfect. Now I've got most of these prepared already, and during this time I've also got my oven preheating to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Once your potatoes are all prepared, we're going to toss them into a bowl, like this one, and get them all in there, and then we're going to season them up just a bit before they head into the oven. We're going to start with about 3 tablespoons of cooking oil. Vegetable oil, canola oil, whatever you usually use in your home is fine. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and paprika. Paprika is a great little spice because it adds a little bit of flavor, but a whole lot of color. And color is especially nice on these garlic drizzled potatoes. So once those are all in there, a little bit more, we're going to toss them together with a spoon. And then they're set to be spread out onto your baking sheet. Your baking sheet, because of the oil that you've added to the potatoes, doesn't need any preparation. Any standard cooking sheet will do. You want something that doesn't have too high a size so that these potatoes can crisp up nicely in the oven. We're going to spread those out there into a single layer. Now I'm working with just 6 regular sized potatoes. Again, this goes much larger and does just great. And you're going to have lots of drizzle, which we're going to get to in just a couple minutes. And I'll tell you what you can do with your extras too. Before I put these potatoes in the oven, I'm putting on some pieces of bacon. Now I've taken 5 strips of bacon and just chopped them into about maybe 1/2 inch to 1 inch wide slices. I've also trimmed off some of the bacon fat. Some of those pieces are a little bit less meaty than others, and those ones we were able to trim out during the slicing process. Okay, now with that pan all prepared with the potatoes and the bacon, I'm going to set it in the oven, set my timer to check on it in about 35 to 40 minutes. Now with our potatoes in, getting all nice and hot and crispy and cooked up, we're going to start on our drizzle. Our drizzle starts with our Philadelphia cream cheese. Now I'm just using regular original Philadelphia cream cheese. Warmed up to a room temperature will make it nice and soft and easy to work with. I'm also using my food processor today. That's just to make it quick and simple to mix together because we don't have a whole lot of time. But if you don't want to use your food processor, a hand mixer works wonderfully, as does a wooden spoon, especially if you've gotten your cream cheese to room temperature. We're going to use 4 ounces of cream cheese in our garlic drizzle, which is exactly 1/2 brick, which is very convenient. Just for ease of processing, I'm just going to split that into 2 and put them both into there. Now, after we've got our cream cheese in, we're going to work with our garlic. Now, from the name, you're probably well aware of the fact that my garlic drizzled potatoes have the flavor of garlic that enhances them and makes them So enjoyable and such a big hit. Now the garlic comes from fresh garlic. It is totally your personal preference, whether you use anywhere from 4 to 6 cloves of garlic in this recipe. We're going to stick with 4 today. Personally, 6 is fantastic in my mind, but I love garlic. For something that's a little more versatile and appeals to everyone's taste, you may want to stick to the 4 end. For your garlic, if you're using a food processor like I am, all you need to do is trim off the ends of your clove and peel the little guy and toss him in whole, and your food processor will do the rest. If you're working with a hand mixer or maybe even a wooden spoon, you want to mince that up first before you throw it in. Now that the garlic and cream cheese are in there, I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil that we're going to drizzle in also, which will add flavor and texture. Then I'm going to add in here, I have 1/3 cup of half and half, 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and just a pinch of onion salt for extra flavor. That is all going to go in to our processor, and then the lid will go on top, and we will whiz that up into a nice creamy sauce. Okay, now we're set. Our potatoes have just come out of the oven. Basically, you just want to make sure that they're fork tender. So poke a fork into one of them, make sure it's soft and ready to eat, and then you're all set. Our drizzle is all finished blending in our food processor, but it's a little thicker than I'd like. And if you find that it's not going to drizzle very well, just take some more half and half or some milk and mix it in there to thin it out a little bit to make it easier to spread on our delicious garlic drizzled potatoes. And now we're going to put our garlic drizzle straight onto our nice hot and steamy potato and bacon. So I'm just using a large spoon here, and from a little bit further up, drizzling it right on. Now there's no right or wrong way to do this. You just drizzle it on. Try to avoid any large lumpy bits, because as much as I like garlic, you still want to be able to taste your potatoes and your bacon too. So we're going to spread that all around there. And if you find it's still a little bit thicker than you'd like, you can thin it out a little bit more. The cream cheese in this drizzle makes it so creamy and so delicious. These are going to be the roasted potatoes that your family asks for time and time again. Okay, now with that done, we're going to set our drizzle aside. Now the extra drizzle that you have made there, you're not going to probably use the whole thing on your pan unless you're making a supersized portion like I do for my family. But it is great baked on a chicken breast or a piece of meat later on in the week, and it'll save in your fridge for a few days. Next, we're going to just chop up some fresh parsley, which I've already rinsed off and washed here. We're just going to chop about 1/3 cup of fresh parsley, and this will not only add a little touch of flavor, but also some beautiful color. Now I would just place this whole pan straight onto the table as it is, but you could also scoop it all up at this point, place it into a bowl, and then put your parsley on top if you've got more of a limited amount of serving space. Well, there you have it. Some amazingly delicious garlic drizzled potatoes. Thanks again for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you back here soon. Perfect.